Shut up and sit down.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first and inaugural episode of the NHL Fan Media show. My name is Brandon Cassidy, and this show is for all your needs NHL, your info, your stats, your opinions even. And this is also a place for you to get your opinions heard too. But before we dive into the show, let me bring on my co-host, Mr. Thomas West. Thomas, how are you?
I'm not too bad, Brandon. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Lots to get into today, so let's dive right in here. First and foremost, update sections here. Yamamoto gets fined for his trip. Was it the right call?
Yeah. I think it definitely was the right call. I think most people, the first thing they saw was a notification on their phones saying Yamamoto got fined for a trip, and he got fined a lot of money for that trip. And you might look at that and say, well, that's kind of weird. You know, it's a tripping penalty. It's a 2-minute minor. I'm not sure what's going on here, but after looking at the video, he definitely deserved that suspension. It was a slew foot in front of the net on Anderson. Rasmus Anderson was pretty much defenseless. It looked like a net front battle at first, but it's definitely a dirty play.
Yeah, it was the maximum allowable penalty under the CBA. So it's intense, $3,854 and that's 17 cents. That's the stinger right there, 17 cents. All right, so moving forward, Buffalo Sabres, 8 straight losses. What's going on here? Is it just Eichel? Is it just him?
No, it's a combination of a bunch of different players, Brandon. Jack Eichel doesn't help. He's obviously injured right now, and he's going to be injured, it looks like, for the next week. That's not an ideal situation for Buffalo at all. But that being said, Jack Eichel only has 2 goals on the year. He wasn't playing fantastic before that as well. Another guy who's really struggled is Taylor Hall this year. And I think a lot of people might be kind of giving up on Taylor Hall and what he can do because he's been playing for a couple teams that aren't particularly popular when he was out in Arizona last year, where he played very well, I must say. So it's not like this is a player who's washed up or anything like that. Taylor Hall is still an incredibly talented player, but he only has 2 goals on the year. So that is a bit of a problem for the Buffalo Sabres, and their stars are just not stepping up right now. So that is probably why they've lost 8 games in a row.
Yeah. Curtis Lazar was a hero of mine in the World Juniors a couple of years back, and he's not producing either. So I don't know what the heck's going on. We'll be sure to keep our eye on them. Moving forward, NWHL playoffs are set. They have a date.
Yes, this is incredibly exciting. I've been fortunate to work on a couple shows around the NWHL and follow all of these teams, and it's some fantastic hockey. They're getting some national recognition in terms of being on NBCSN, so it's a really good time for women's hockey.
It'll be and we have more on that coming up later on in the show. But now, Thomas, game of the week, who's it going to?
Well, there were some great games this week, and we spent a bit of time deciding which one it was. But then a couple nights ago, the LA Kings took on the Anaheim Ducks, and they played an absolute thriller. Adrian Kempe, a valiant effort with a hat trick for the LA Kings, but still not quite enough to beat the Ducks. And Adrian Kempe's goals in that game, by the way, were fantastic. The tip in front of the net with under a minute left. What a fantastic play. But just not quite enough. And credit to the Anaheim Ducks for being able to stay resilient and win a game that they really needed to stay in contention considering where they are in the standings right now.
Exactly right. I mean, last place Anaheim Ducks going up against mid-seed LA Kings. Like this is the playoff run where you really need to turn things around. So good on the Ducks. Couldn't agree more. Let's move on here. Hot takes. Now, this is a portion of the show where we can kind of let fly here. Let's go to Coach's Corner. Not to rip CBC's airtime off, but like Coach's Corner. Let's talk coaches for a second. Mike Babcock going to SMU. I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our conversation the other day when we were talking about this because, you know, we're 2 people who followed youth sports quite a bit. We did some youth sports commentary together, and we've seen, you know, how much of an effect a good coach can have on a team because it's a league where there's a skill gap. And there's a lot of improvement to be had. And, you know, some of the players coming in here are not, you know, necessarily the most motivated players. because they are coming out of the OHL. They probably wanted to get drafted, and now here they are in U Sports.
Right.
A guy like Mike Babcock can really turn things around, continue to help them to, get on with their professional careers. And what an opportunity for those players as well, being coached by Mike Babcock, a guy with Stanley Cup winning experience with Detroit in 2008. So
he won a gold medal for Team Canada in 2010 and 2014. I mean, the guy's pedigree, it's still up there. I mean, he's tough, but I'd say he wins and he finds ways to win. Moving on, keeping with the coach's theme though, Sutter wrangles his way back with the ponies in Calgary. Is this the right time? Is it the right fit? Time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, it was bound to have a coaching change in Calgary for sure. What I'm really looking at for Daryl Sutter is how he can get some younger guys going like Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau. So if you don't know, Daryl Sutter has been around the NHL for a very long time. In fact, he was the youngest coach ever at age 34 way back in the day. And he has been very successful in his coaching career. 2 Stanley Cups. When he won with the LA Kings, he was playing, there was a lot of really talented players that were about the same age as Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan, as well as others. But he was, coaching the likes of Jeff Carter and Dustin Brown and Drew Doughty and a whole bunch of really talented players, Anze Kopitar as well. And he had a really positive effect on them, as you can see, because they won 2 Stanley Cups after that.
That's right.
So there's definitely a lot of value in Sutter going to Calgary, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of effect he has on the younger guys.
It'll be really, really great to see. I mean, he worked him hard the first couple of practices. I mean, suicides are not fun for anybody. But moving on, I mean, we're into the season now. There are some teams that have found their stride, other ones have found a groove, and then there's the rest that are hitting slumps. But is this a real fair depiction of what it is to be in the NHL today?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting, and we're kind of getting to the point in the season where it's a make or break time for every single NHL team. There's a lot of teams that have, maybe been slumping a little bit. Take like the Montreal Canadiens right now, who are looking to get it back on track. So if you're watching the NHL in the next couple of weeks, this is where things are definitely going to start to turn around or completely fall off a cliff for your respective team.
Well, I mean, even bringing up the Canadian league or the division here, I mean, the Toronto Maple Leafs are definitely one of those teams that, they're good, and I am not saying that they're not. But are they this good? I mean, they're 38 points, tied for first place with Tampa Bay, who just tied them last night. Are they this good? I mean, we know that they're talented. We already got that. But if they were to face Tampa Bay, I don't know that it would be a very close game. I think Tampa Bay's got them beat still.
Yeah, so the Canadian division is interesting right now, and it was very exciting at first because, if you're a fan of Canadian teams and you just like to follow Canadian teams, like I pretty much do myself, it's great. You have to watch half the games, and we're all playing each other. In terms of skill level, I think we're looking at the Scotia North division as probably one of the more weak divisions. Mm-hmm. So you look at a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are a whole head above every single other team in their division, and we don't get to really see how good they are because they don't get to play a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Minnesota Wild, who are making a run right now. That would be really interesting to see this year.
Right.
And if you're looking statistically at, the Toronto Maple Leafs are, the first best team or the second best team in the league, just looking at the standings and where they're sitting, I don't know if that's a good way to be depicting who is really the best right now.
Yeah, I mean, the stats only tell you so much of the story, that's for sure. Listeners and viewers, if you guys are enjoying this, please let us know. We are definitely up for some criticism. We're up for your ideas. We're also up for having you on the show. So please let us know. We're going to have our email, nhlfanmediashow.789@gmail.com. It'll be somewhere on the screen here. And please hit us up. We're also on Instagram, right, Thomas? Are we not? We're on Instagram?
Yes, we did.
Yes, okay, so we're on Instagram as well. That link will be in the description as well. But moving forward here, let us know if you guys have any suggestions or anything like that. We'll be sure to try and hit you up, if not have you on the show. Moving forward, Thomas, women's hockey, NWHL finally getting their playoff run. This is exciting.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be a very short burst of excitement. It's going to be 2 days, March 26th and 27th, and the NWHL is back, and they're going to be playing 1-game elimination. 4 teams remain. So if you are new to the NWHL, this is a really fun little league to take a look at, and it'll be the Boston Pride and the Toronto Six who are going to play on March 26th. The Connecticut Whale play the Minnesota Whitecaps on March 26th as well. Then the winner of those games obviously will play in the finals on March 27th, which will be a fantastic game because, yeah, it is. But they are back now, and they are going to be on national television, so anyone can watch it. I think they were playing on Twitch before. Right. And we have some interesting matchups as well. So the Boston Pride and the Toronto Six is really interesting. The Toronto Six is the brand new team, an expansion franchise to the NWHL, taking on the Boston Pride, who were the best team in the league last year, but they never got to prove it because the Isabel Cup wasn't played. They came back this year, and it was a different story. Boston has not played well at all. The Toronto Six have beat Boston. In fact, they beat every single team that are in the quarterfinals right now, or the semifinals, I should say. So the Toronto Six are definitely a favorite coming into this, but the Boston Pride have a fantastic team and a very strong first line. And then the Minnesota Whitecaps and the Connecticut Whale. Minnesota was the team that went to the Isabel Cup finals, so they should be a team that can beat the Connecticut Whale. So we're looking at some really interesting matchups. That being said, these women haven't played hockey in a month, so anything could happen, and it'll be really exciting to see how it goes down. Yeah, I think it's the Toronto Six and the Minnesota Whitecaps, but I'm so hesitant to say that. We made a bunch of predictions, I think, on our NWHL show earlier in the year. And the Toronto Six always came through when we picked them. So I'm going to continue to go with them. But I do think that they do have the edge over Boston. Boston was kind of reeling. So if things go the same way as they were during the regular season, which was a month ago, it would be the Toronto Six who are the favorite. And then definitely the Minnesota Whitecaps can get past the Connecticut Whale.
To go from not playing to playing in the semifinals, my goodness, what an exciting time for women's hockey. And NSNBC SN will have that broadcast nationally as well.
Yeah, that is actually a really big thing as well because it really helps with the exposure for the league. So NBCSN is obviously a national broadcast, so everyone can watch these games. They don't have to have a Twitch account to watch, which was kind of fun if you're a younger fan. But I think it'll be great for the older generation as well to flip on the television set and see some really talented hockey players.
Indefinitely. Games coming up going forward here, Thomas. Lots of games in the NHL tonight. Lots of vengeance seeking tonight in the NHL. I've got the Leafs versus Jets, but I've got the Leafs going over the Jets here. I think they're going to snap their 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, like we said, the Toronto Maple Leafs are way too strong a team to be going on losing streaks like this. The Winnipeg Jets they played well this year, but I still think the Toronto Maple Leafs are a pretty heavy favorite in this matchup, even though the Winnipeg Jets have had a pretty good year, probably above expectations. There's some other games as well. The Montreal Canadiens have a massive streak coming up against your Calgary Flames.
Yep, that's right. The Flames. Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely like the Flames, but yeah, we'll see. This is going to be an intense time. I mean, the Montreal Canadiens looking to turn things around 2 in a row now. They're looking to make it.
Yeah, so they did beat the Vancouver Canucks, which in the Scotia North Division is not necessarily the most fantastic feat ever. But they have massive games coming up, 2 games consecutively coming up against the Calgary Flames, a team that they're looking to pass in the Scotia North Division. So it's a turning point in the season kind of for both teams right now.
And looking forward, Dallas looking to repeat their victory over Chicago 6-1, as well as the Detroit Red Wings seeking vengeance against Tampa Bay after their overtime loss. Well, all good things must come to an end. Thomas West, thank you so very much for being on the show with me today. I look forward to next week with you when we host another show of NHL Fan Show. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any comments or anything that you'd like to bring to our attention, or if you'd like to be on the show with us, please hit us up at nhlfanmediashow.789@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on Instagram.
Yes, you can. We're on Instagram now at NHL Fan Media, so you can follow us on that as well. I'm sure that'll be linked somewhere on the screen. Yeah,
little tidbits here and there, little shots of us doing our thing here. But once again, thank you so very much for joining us today, ladies and gentlemen, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, simply create a profile on Fan Media's iOS app or website. Select your teams and make a short intro video on your phone. Show hosts, reporters, former players, and superfans can use our Get Verified feature and make an intro video as well, and our mobile newsroom staff will reach out.